Welcome to PENSDOWN. This is where we sit with journalists. A lot happens behind the scenes before they bring you the news and everything in between, but they hardly get to share. That is why this program is here. We tell the storytellers stories. Journalists also have stories to tell, but because we are saddled with conveying the stories of other people, we are unable to insert our own experiences and stories in them. Today, I have been joined by a senior colleague all the way from Port Harcourt, that's Rivers State, Nigeria. She is a principal reporter and editor at Rivers State TV in Port Harcourt, Nigeria, RSTV. She is also producer and presenter of the popular program Social Media Nuggets on the same channel. Today, I have been joined on PENSDOWN by Dr. Hannah Aman. Welcome and thanks for joining me.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here in this beautiful program. I suppose we're reaching the world from where we are.
Exactly.
So it's a program where I'm going to talk on my journey through journalism. It's been 16 years. Yes, 16 beautiful years.
How many years?
16.
Wow. Okay. But how did you enter journalism in the first place? What brought you here? Was it by accident or it was planned?
I've always had flair. Before I entered journalism fully, I've done little presentation, writing, publications, at different times.
Okay.
I studied English in school.
Okay.
And then when I went on youth service, in Nigeria here, we have a year to serve the nation.
In Ghana, we have the same. We call it national service.
Okay, we call it youth service here.
Okay.
NYSC, National Youth Service Corps. So when I was having my NYSC, I did program with they'll send you to a different state. Yes. There I served at a point state here in Nigeria, where I worked at the radio station. I was teaching. I was sent to teach, but we had a Christian corpus program we were recording and airing. It was live too, every Tuesday. So I was doing that, so somehow I've always had flair for broadcasting, though I started off as a teacher, I was teaching, and then when the opportunity came to work in a TV house in 2007, I, availed myself, and it's been a journey, learning process. I've done so many things here. That's why you would find that on my the list of things I do here, like I literally go around. I do production, presentation, reporting, editing, like literally everything I do, because it's been a journey. I've had to do so many things, and I think I'm better for it because it makes the work easier. So I started as a field reporter. As a matter of fact, the day I came to, the very first week I started work, I was sent out of town. So it wasn't a very easy one. Yes.
Wow.
I was sent out of town to a nearby local government area to go and interview a paramount ruler, I was yet to be properly trained. So when I thought, in fact, by the time I was leaving the station, my general manager was driving in, and he asked me, "Hannah, where are you going to?" I said, "I'm not even sure. I've been asked to go to a nearby local government area and to interview a paramount ruler there." And he said, "Very good, you go and come back and tell me your experiences." So it was really, I started with field work. I'd had to go to different places. And that same 2007, about this time, we had elections. We had our general elections. It was a governorship election. I was barely 2-3 months old on the job when I was sent to a volatile local government area. You have to cross the sea.
Wow.
We call it Bonny. Yeah, you have to cross the sea, not river.
Okay.
Bonny local government area to go and cover election. And my experience there alone is enough to write a book. It's enough to write, yeah, a full book.
Wow.
So I went with my cameraman, you know. We had to spend 2 nights there.
Oh, okay.
You know, we had gone on it with a public transport with some guy who was to take us there to cover the elections and bring us. We left on Friday. Elections were for Saturday. And then we got there, the materials for elections had not arrived, so we had to wait. It was later in the evening that they flew in the materials. I told you, it's like an island.
Yes.
Bonny is like an island. It's quite far.
Yeah.
Come to Nigeria, try and get to Bonny. But you will love the place.
Wow.
So they flew in the election materials in the evening of Saturday. So while we were on the field waiting for elections, we took the time to do vox pop, take care. People were waiting here and there. At some point, the youths in the community felt we were coming to cover a particular political party.
Oh.
And they decided to seize our camera. You know, I'm telling you, we were literally attacked on the field. After so much begging and pleading and all that, we got our camera back. And then, you know, the person who took us to the community was in a particular party. So they all felt we came to cover the event for the person. Okay. So when they came to attack us, we told them we were, you know, we're not on any side. We were just neutral, you know, and we were there to do our job. It was at that point people intervened, and then they gave us back our camera. But because the person who took us down there was a member of a party, and we slept at his place. Do you know that night they went to boggle that house? They literally burnt it down. They boggled the place. So what happened was, while we were on the field, the materials came in late at about between 5, 6, 7. So we couldn't have election that Saturday. So they had the election on Sunday. But in the meantime, I was giving reports to my office of what was going on. Fortunately, I had a friend who was from that community who assessed everything, and he said, I was telling him, I don't think it's wise for us to go back to that man's house because of what happened on the field. And then he went and booked a accommodation somewhere in a hotel for I and my cameraman. You know, that was how we didn't know where we were. So that night, they thought we had gone back to the man's house, and they went there to attack the place. So I was spared. I was just a few weeks on the field at the time. But you know, by Sunday morning, I came back to Port Harcourt, and then that was the day they had the elections because the materials came in late and they were housed at the police station. That and many other things I've seen on the field, you know, in reporting. You know, as a field reporter, I wasn't on a particular beat. So I've had to cover randomly different events at different times, ranging from health, environment, oil and gas, economy, different religion, politics, different. I've had to cover different beats of news reporting. And then, interestingly, when I started, we had the general manager who somehow, the interview he gave me was to write, he asked me to write on one day is not enough. So I wrote on the topic one day. That was my interview, my employment interview. He asked me to write on one day is not enough. So I wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote several pages, over 10 pages. I wrote a lot of things. So he decided that I was going to join the investigative team. So I started with investigative journalism. Wow. We had to do a lot of reports. Yeah, I told you I was teaching before I came into journalism. Yes. So one of the first reports I did is I targeted babies in school. Babies in school. In that report, I followed a little girl, her first day in school. She was barely 2 at the time. So to me, as in that particular day, we started, I work in a television house.
Yes.
So I took my cameraman down there very early in the morning while the baby was still sleeping. We covered her when she woke up, had her bath, got dressed, followed her to school. It was her first day in school. The story, yeah. So, and then we met other babies. For me, she was too young to be in school. That was why I did that report for babies in school. And that was where I was coming from, being a teacher, though I didn't teach in nursery school. So I felt babies should at least be up to 3 years. That's what my mission at the time, why I did that report. That was what, the drive I had in doing that report, babies in school. Then from there, we went to different reports like street people. I've had to do special reports on why people live on the street. Are they all mentally deranged? Are they all challenged? Are they normal? Because of that report, I found that not everybody on the street is actually has a mental issue. Some of them, and the bulk of them, in Nigeria, we have 36 states and then the federal capital.
Yeah.
So you find that most of the people on it are not from the particular states.
Okay.
Most of them are, visitors from different states, and they're probably economically, they weren't doing well and chose to stay under the bridge at different places. So from that report, I've done so many other investigative reports because these reports will take you months. In fact, when I started the first few months of my engagement with Rivers Television, my former GM said he encouraged us to buy cameras. I had a camera at the time. I had a still camera. I had a video camera. So from there, I also did a program called iReport.
Okay.
So from my house, from where I was staying down to the station is over an hour journey. So, and then he would say between that distance, you would have seen something that should be on air. So he encouraged me with my camera. I would always video anything that looks like it could be news, that looks like there's a story behind it, So my journey has been very interesting and engaging. I have been living by passion, I had to do so many things at the same time.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Within these 16 years you have been at it, journalism has experienced a lot of attrition. So many professionals have abandoned the crafts. Some have gone into public relations or corporate communications. Others find themselves just anywhere they can, be opportune to hang in. What do you think is accounting for this trend? What really is happening?
For me, I chose exposure. For me, journalism has exposed me to different fields. As a matter of fact, I combined with corporate communications. I also combine with public relations. I'm a member of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. So I combine, with so many things, and I've engaged in several trainings. It exposes me and I feel it gives me a platform to really express. I can be a voice. I can contribute to the development of my country. Now, journalism gives you a stage. It gives you a stage. You can talk, you can write. Because what is happening now with this age of misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, and the truth does not have emotions. With journalism, you stand a better chance to tell and give a better report. Is reporting. But people tend to confirm what's going on with you because you fact check before the reporter, whatever you churn out there, people tend to believe you. I think we're still setting the pace, we're still driving the conversation and all that as journalists. And to me, that's a lot of responsibility, a lot of duty on the journalist. When you get, if you place financial reward before you, possibility of getting easily disoriented is there because the money is not enough. You'd find people who just graduated from school. In 1 year, they are driving lush cars. They've got good, they are well paid, and you're asking yourself, what am I doing here? No, I've actually asked myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get driven to that point, you're like, if I'm doing 16 years in an oil company, I should be well off, you know.
That's a senior
but when
manager
you know
position.
that you owe a responsibility, yeah. But unlike where I am, you know, like I work for the government.
That's right.
So, and journalism working for the government is not fun. It's not.
Yeah.
Because you're literally saying what you're asked to say.
Yes.
There's a limit. So most times I will ask myself, are we practicing journalism here? As in, you can't just say it the way it is, even when the truth is staring at you in the face. You can't just say it, except you want to lose your job. But I still find a way around it to tell my story. That's why I like to be versatile. You have different platforms. Now, the social media today, everybody is reporting. From every point, people use their phones, the video, whatever, and they report. Why should they take my information above that of the ordinary person? That's where the crux is. For me, the today journalist must be the one that has fact-checked the information that is making the rounds. If I want to read something and I want to be certain if this is fact or if it's true, because you can see that editing has gone beyond imagination.
Yes.
You know, there is deep fake, they can fake the voice, they can even fake the looks, you know, and if you're not careful, you get carried like, oh, I heard this, I got this, and I think is, you know, the truth, you know. But what's the difference between me and the person who will just video whatever? I would ensure that what I'm churning out is the fact. I will ensure that it's been confirmed. I will ensure, and I think that is the crux. Some journalists say today, tomorrow, some papers, because they want to sell, they want to break the news. And sometimes it's difficult to get to the source of the news. So you just take what is making the rounds to find out later that it's not true. For how long will you keep apologizing? Everybody does not, I mean, until some people are made to face, I think some people are actually facing it. They are made to pay some prices for giving fake reports. You know, so those are some of the challenges. Some people are leaving, but for me, I'm encouraged by the fact that people can call back to ask, confirm things with me. I want to say I have a platform. I have a platform to give information. It encourages me. It's not the money. If you look at the money, you get discouraged over time and you leave. Because even if you were to be selling something and you're consistent at it, you make much more. So it's not the money, the exposure, the commitment, the not gratification at all, but it's the fact that you're able to do something differently and you can actually carry a group of people along and you can tell them and they believe you can't be trusted with what you churn out. Those are some of the things that have kept me over time.
Apart from that experience in Bonny Island, where you went to cover the elections and virtually at a point your life was in danger, what other assignment will you describe as the most challenging in your career?
Yeah, there's this story. I told you I was involved with investigative journalism.
Yes.
So I and a colleague, there's this very narrow experience, but my colleague actually paid dearly. Well, I wouldn't say she paid dearly. Let me just give a breakdown. Somehow we worked on this report that says prosperity preaching right now, right here. I had a senior colleague, like I said, then I just started working as a journalist. I had a senior colleague. So my general manager asked me to work with her. And then the both of us went to town to find out the essence of that report was why a lot of people, a lot of churches now reach prosperity, and the crowd of people who go to church crime in the society. That was the essence of that report. So we went to town to take, it took a long time for us to come out with that report. We went to town, went to churches to video how they come for programs, the crowd that comes to church, and yet the society is still the way it is. And then sometimes, this money Christianity, where some people are made to part with certain amount for certain miracles.
Yeah.
For instance, some churches, they say if you want a baby boy, you give certain offering. You want a baby girl, you give certain offering, and then the over dependence on the anointing oil rather than on Jesus himself.
That's right.
We took all those consideration, and then we went out to do this report. We went to different churches. We went to a particular church. We obtained permission to talk with the pastor. We booked appointment to speak with him, and they made us wait in the church hall. At the point we came up to his office, we didn't enter the main office where the secretary was. We waited for a long time, and then they put a call through to him. And that this journalist from Riverside Television would like to speak with you. He said, no, he doesn't have time for local journalists. He's a pastor to a congregation of over 3,000. He can't talk to local press. As at that time, he was running his weekly program. Yeah. He was running his weekly program on as at that time. And then we heard that, we were investigative journalists. So at each point, when we enter each office, wherever we go to, we roll cameras, we steal shots. While they'll be making all that, we're recording everything. So we went to different churches. It wasn't about a particular church or a particular pastor. Yeah. So it was about Christianity generally, and how some pastors are actually misleading their congregation with prosperity preaching. So we did the report, went to different churches, packaged everything. It was a 30 minutes production. Now, at the time the program was aired on TV, I had gone for a training in Radio Nigeria, Lagos. Okay. It's a school, it's a journalism school, Lagos State. So I had gone, I went there in August. I was there for 3 months, August, September, October. So while the program was aired, a particular pastor, the one that said he was too big to talk to local press, felt it was an attack on his person and decided to arrest the producers. I was the assistant producer. So they went for my senior colleague. They went for her, they decided to arrest her. Now, the problem was, if you have an issue with the production, I think you should go to the station. We were only around women. Yeah. We were only around one errand, but the person took it personal and decided to prosecute her. As God would have it, she was also strong, and then instead of, usually when you arrest somebody and you want to prosecute, it should be within the territory where you had the issue. That's right. But he wanted to use minds, and then state CIDs, they were inviting her to Abuja for the matter. She had gone a couple of times. They were making plans to jail her, as a matter of fact. But because actually at this time, all this while, I was in Lagos. I was not around. God just carried me down there. So probably if they couldn't get her, they would have come for me. So somehow she had gone to Lagos, to say her beats. The general manager who was there, who supervised the production, was transferred. It was a serious matter. They transferred him. Yeah, because it was our defense. It was like he gave us the assignment and we went to do it.
Then there was a lot of influence and power play going on behind the scenes.
There's a lot of power play. You see men of God who are wealthy, so much power and money.
That's right.
You know, if you have issues, first and foremost, I think the station aired something you're not comfortable. It wasn't about a particular individual, you know. So for a particular church or person to pick offense and decide to punish the journalists involved, and then not just within her jurisdiction, decided to take the matter to Abuja so that she will be picked and then taken to Abuja so that she will be outside her. It was a serious matter. The NUJ in the state didn't stand solidly behind her.
Wow.
The house was divided. Just a few friends, yes. It was, it shook the city. It was a serious matter that the entire state got to know about it.
Wow.
Beyond the state, she had to write, tweeting on, she had to go online. So international bodies, some of them, came into the matter. It was that serious. So that was very challenging. As a matter of fact, that brought the end to that production. The special, the investigative stories we were doing, churning out stories almost every week. Because one, the GM was moved. Everybody was scared of the man because he had money to throw around. Yeah. The station stopped airing the program. A lot of people were involved. Somehow, that my friend also had, the husband had some friends who were giving them information. So at the time, she was tweeting, she was writing, she dropped everything online. So people got involved. But within our locality, within our station, within our state, even the NUJ in the state, the National Union of Journalists in Rivers State, they didn't stand behind her. It became an individual fight.
Too bad.
It was bad. Yeah, it was very bad. For me, when I came back and I heard this, because I know the role I played, both of us did the story from the beginning to the end. So probably it would have been a two-man thing. And at the time, honestly, I didn't have those level of connection.
You would have been helpless in the face of the man's money and influence.
I would have been discouraged and helpless. Probably if I managed to wriggle my way out of that, I probably abandoned journalism and run away for my safety. But somehow I came and I got all the stories, because if you see the end credits, after her name, you see mine. Because we did the report together.
Yes.
And I heard everything. For me, I was not happy that the role my station played. We did the job for you. It wasn't a personal thing. They didn't stand solidly to say, this is our staff. We sent her to do this report. And whatever happens, we're going to cater for her. We're going to stand by her. They didn't do that. They allowed her to carry the burden and the problem alone. Now, the general manager who would have been able to stand by her, who knew about the report, because all the way we'll go out to take report. We used to have editorial meetings with him. And then he would ask me to talk about the progress of the report. He was so interested in investigative journalism, and will go on, unravel a lot of things. He supported the productions with financially and otherwise. And they moved him out. A lot of government influence and personality influence. They removed the man immediately. So there was no one to stand by. Every other person, the directors around, did not stand by my senior colleague at the time.
I am interested in what became of your senior colleague's journalism career after this whole drama. Did she abandon the craft, or she's still here?
She's still here. I'm sure you would like to talk with her.
Exactly.
She's still here.
Wow.
She's still here. After that experience, everybody calls her Aman of RSTV.
That will, it will
she's a very
toughen her,
strong
definitely.
journalist, and
Yes.
yeah, it toughened her. She's not easily swerved. You know, she's also a doctor now. You know, she's one of the reasons she was really she encouraged me a lot. You know, she encouraged me when we started, because it was difficult to break into a lot of, we had not had a lot of places, especially public offices. We had not had the bill for public to get information for public office.
Okay, the
You know,
right to
we had not had
information
that
bill.
bill in Nigeria. Information bill. We have not had it in Nigeria at the time.
Okay.
So it was difficult doing investigative journalism, and then you know you need information from certain government office. You approach them and say, please get information on this thing, on that. You know, I'm doing a report on this. I would like to know how much was paid for this. Nobody will listen to you. It was that difficult. But almost every day we were on the road, going from an office to the other, trying to, begging, pleading, writing letters. That was what we were doing that time. We were writing letters. When we pick a topic, we're going to work on this topic, we write letters and send to as many as we think we'll be needing. Freedom of Information Bill had not been passed in Nigeria at the time. Yeah. I think it was 2016 that it became effective. Okay. But at the time, it was difficult to penetrate public offices to get information. So investigation was difficult, especially government office. So those were the difficult days, era where it was difficult to crack, to break through, to get a report. Before you get an investigative report, you would have spent longer than necessary. Sometimes some reports 6 months, you're yet to get something together, because people were just too evasive. At some point, especially in the States, at the time, the governor of the day was like a sole administration interest. The more I felt they must be hiding something, and it was my duty to know what it was. So they were challenging days. They were interesting. So they were really interesting. That's
let's look at social media. How much of a challenge is it to mainstream journalism, or is it an opportunity?
Both. I would say, for me, the social media has been both a challenge and opportunity. Okay. For instance, opportunities, not just opportunity. Opportunities, there are so many opportunities on the social media. And I must say, COVID did us a lot of good in the boom in social media. I think it was in COVID era that we started so much of Zoom. I'm talking with you, you're in Ghana. So it's a lot. Look at the distance we are covering within, with a click of the button. Yes. We're having a conversation. So a lot of advancement. Social media brought that. I wouldn't need to travel down to where you are to have this interview. Yes. In the comfort of my office and have the interview. On social media, we can share a lot. We can write a book together today. Yes. We can have a family meeting. We can attend function, sitting where we are. So it's a lot. But it had, of course, every good thing has got something, it has its side effects. This era of information disorder, let me put it that way. Yes. This era of information disorder, that is the setback on it. But to me, and then social media has given a platform to everybody. Has given a voice to everybody. Almost everybody feels they can pick up their phone, write whatever. To some people, like the program I do, Social Media Nugget. Let me come to that program now. Yeah. Now, the synopsis of that program is we look at trending stories.
Okay.
Whatever is trending on social media for the period. That's what we talk about. Probably for the week. You know, on social media, almost every other day, something is trending, especially here in Nigeria. There were many here. So
that's right.
But it's not restricted to Nigeria, though. Our stories are not restricted to Nigeria. So social media nugget, we look at trending stories. Whatever is trending, what are people listening to? What are people talking about? What are people tweeting? What are they chatting about? What is the issue on the front burner? That's what we talk about on social media nugget. Whatever is trending, and half the time, most time, what makes news easily and most negativities. Oftentimes, rarely you have good reports. So that's what we talk about on that program every Wednesday morning from 8:45 to 9:30, 45 minutes program. Live. So we talk different topics, people call in and they share their view on the different stories we may have shared for the day. So now, for me, social media, there's more advantage to it. That's why I pray. Because what we hear and see today have always been there. They've always been there, but people probably do not have a platform to say it. But when you have data on your phone and you can share what's happening to you. That's why it's looking like things are happening. No, people are unraveling. People have been given a voice. They've been given rooms. During that COVID, we discovered a lot of domestic violence cases, a lot of defilement cases. Almost every other day, every time of my program, almost every week, there were a lot of defilement cases of children, a lot of domestic husbands who say they've been married peacefully, but because now you're locked down in the same space with your family, so many things begin to come out. So that is what we discussed so many of those things. Now, why the increase? It's not because they've not been happening, but now people are put in a space where you know your real person easily. You get to know your partner better. When he takes his bath and goes to work every day, comes back tired, you don't know he can actually give you a hot slap. But but facing each other from morning till evening, they got to know themselves. So that's what social media has done to the society. People have a platform. You see a lot of nudity. You see a lot of abnormal behaviors from the youth and all that. Because they can express themselves. They know they can express themselves. Prior to this time, they could be doing it within the confine of their homes. So to me, social media has helped to expose the society to what it really is. A lot of women are going through a lot now. And then they probably do not have the platform to say some of the things they're going through. But with social media, they can come out and shout and scream and they can get help. It also has a side effect. Some people, the kind of things they would have endured, they don't see any reason to actually endure it because they know they talk about it here. And then when social media, there's someone that will relate. There's someone out there who can relate to what they're going through. So it's just exposing us.
Let me find this out from you. I have a 2-in-1 question. Number one, if we are to go back into time 20 years, are you still going to choose journalism? And then the second part is, how many more years do you want to go with journalism before moving away from the camera?
If we're to go back in time, the journalism that was practiced at the time, I think I would say yes. I would choose journalism. Yes. I would choose journalism. Like I said, it affords you the opportunity to, I want to call myself a very straightforward person. I'm very objective, by the way. Sometimes you may not like the way I'll sound.
Yeah.
But I'm very objective. So now, journalism has given my kind of person, my kind of person, the opportunity to be objective. Now, if you go outside journalism, there's so much compromise in society.
Yeah.
There's so much compromise in almost every field. So most times I keep wondering how I would have survived elsewhere. Because I'm not the type to easily compromise. So I just wonder how, by the time I'll go and I'll say, no, let's not, they will probably ask me to go home. They'll say, Madam, please, can you go home? This is how we work here, So, but with journalism, I can easily be myself to an extent. Like I told you, I struggled at some point, and I would ask myself every now and then. There are certain times, because of my job, I'll ask myself, are we really practicing journalism?
Yeah.
Because I work for the government, like I said.
Yeah.
So I often ask myself, like, when we can't say it the way it is, are we truly practicing journalism, or we are, we call ourselves any government in power, AGIP. We work for any government in power. When a new government comes to change the music, that's what we do most times. So it restricts us when it has to do with government, but when it has to do with the larger society, we can tell our story the way it should be told. So knowing my kind of person, I would choose journalism because it gives me, I'm very comfortable doing what I do, despite its challenges. There are challenging times and stages of it. Like I said, the restriction when it has to do with government story, the restrictions we have, there are very few media houses, though the journalism we practice is not exactly the way I would have loved it.
Yeah.
But I think it's the best platform for me.
Okay.
It's the best platform for me and my kind. Because you find that generally, almost every media house is tailoring their story to suit some particular class of people. Almost every, you can tell, if you come to Nigeria now, you can tell who this newspaper is writing for. You can tell. Objectivity now
it's not absolute, it's relative.
Not absolute, yeah. Objectivity is not absolute. So when you say, if I say I'm being objective and to some other person, you're not.
That's right.
But I'll still pick journalism any day, anytime. I would do it. You asked, the second part of the question is how much longer?
How many more years do you want to go before you walk out of the microphone?
Like I said, I worked with the government at the time. Okay. And so probably so when I retire, we retire at 60 in Nigeria.
Okay.
Probably when I hit the bar, I'll retire from government active journalism. But I will not retire from being a journalist.
That's right.
I have a platform. I also told you I do corporate journalism. And it's a fair with corporate, and I do public relations. Okay. Too. You understand? Yeah. So all that are different areas I would want to explore them more. So when it comes to fact checking, when it comes to objective in writing, when it comes to dissemination of information and sharing opinions, I think and views, I'll do that all my life. Yeah,
you've talked about issues of compromise, integrity, and all. What is your take on the brown envelope?
To be honest with you, I used to be a field reporter, like I told you. That's why I started. Yeah. In my journey, that's why I started as a field reporter, going for different events. And right now, I work mostly in the office as an editor, a producer, and a presenter. But I still cover events once in a while. Like I also told you, I do corporate. I work with some corporate organizations.
Okay.
I'm not as regular as I was on the field. I could cover any bit, no, not like that anymore. And one of the reasons why I left the field at the time I did was because of the ugliness of this brown envelope. Sincerely, one of the reasons I had to ask my office to keep me on the desk, because by his grace, I, at least education-wise, have strived. So you go to cover an event, maybe a counselor or a local government chairman, to corroborate your story. And then they start forming big men, making you wait. And then sometimes they share money for journalists. You find journalists running after them for peanuts. That's what I call it. For me, it was really disrespectful, irritating. I can say more. I didn't find it funny. I felt I was bigger than most of them. Who go to court to present their client, they are giving transport. If people want to give you money, it should be very honorable. So I'm not running after collecting brown envelope, because definitely to influence what you're writing. It will definitely, we're humans. We're human. So you can only say you're not a thief when you've been put in that box where you are faced with the situation of stealing and you refuse to. So when you go and I say all some rubbish and then I pack some money and give to you, you will try to paint my story in such a way that people are not seeing it the way it should be said. For me, the brown envelope syndrome is everywhere, but it's a no-no. For me, it's a no-no. Because I feel it will color your opinion, it will color your objectivism. It will definitely influence your writing. I remember in those days, some of my colleagues, they'll come back from the field and they'll be like, didn't they give you transport? Some of them even actually make the demands.
Yes.
They demand for it like it's a right.
But in Ghana, some journalists approach it with a sense of entitlement.
Yeah,
they can even trash your story if you don't give it.
Yeah. So that's the thing. They do it here too. But I think for me, what is news? We have now swept what is news under the carpet. You don't need to pay for news. If I say that this is news, I don't need anybody to oil my hands for me to take the news and share it. But if you have an event and you invite me to cover it, you should pay me. I hope you understand.
I get you.
You want to launder your image on TV. A lot of people want to come out on TV and say whatever they like. They should pay for it. That's advertisement. That's advertisement. You should pay for it. That one is not negotiable. I'll give you the costs. You pay for it. But if it's news, something that is happening, human angle stories especially, I don't know why anybody should ask for money to get such story across. So that's it. If it has to do with your company, it has to do with your person, it has to do with your organization, pay for it. I tell them publicity is not cheap, it's expensive. So if you want to come out on TV to come and say this, you have an opinion and you want to share it, pay for it. That's why I won't want to run after you. Yeah, pay for it. What are you saying? Except I used to have another live program we call Straight Talk.
Okay.
It was Straight Talk. It was a discussion program where we discussed topical issues, largely government, topical issues. Now, on that program, I invite people as guests to come and discuss. Now, for that, you don't have to pay because I'm inviting you, to come, and then the platform is created for you to talk what on certain topics. For instance, we just had our elections, our presidential elections 2 Saturdays ago.
Yeah.
Precisely on the 5th of February.
Yes.
In that program, Straight Talk, I would invite guests that I know are related, either from INEC or politicians, and then ask them for their view. Of course, on such programs, they don't pay. Because I'm inviting you to talk. I have a platform and I'm inviting you to talk. You say what you feel about certain topics. You don't pay on that program. But if you're asking to come on the program, you pay for it.
Yes. I think I agree with you. That dichotomy is clear.
So that's what I think. And then if you want to come on TV, a lot of people want to come, they see you talk on TV and they feel I talk is cheap. I want to come. You will pay for it. You should pay to come and talk so that you don't think what I'm doing, journalists most times, I feel that the ones that a lot of them make people look down on our profession, the way they carry on, like we are cheap, we're easily available, we're everywhere. When you ring a bell, we'll all come out. No, it's a no for me. If you want to come, I have the platform. I can make it available. You want to talk, you want to launder your image, you want to talk about what you're doing, it's affordable. You have to pay for it. But what is news? I don't think it should be paid for. And that's why we mix it up. That's why if something is happening and this is news, I need it and I have a platform to share it, I should go get it at my expense. At my expense, yes. And on that ground, I don't think I should be asking people, please, I need transport and all that. I saw a lot of negativity and nasty things on the field, and I was like, can I sit in the office and let me be editing what they are bringing in? So it was from there. Actually, my office now put me on the decks to do editorial work after I came back from studies and all that. So there are some of,
Talking about some of these negative practices and the need to sanitize the profession to give it that kind of image and facelift. Some colleagues I have hosted here, seniors and juniors alike, have taken the position that journalists should be licensed. What is your take? Should journalists be licensed?
I think, yes, I would say journalists should be we already have organization like the National Union of Journalism, and I think they have ID cards and all that. But journalists should be licensed and to see it as a profession. In fact, they should have insurance provision. When they see it as a profession, that a noble profession, a profession with integrity, a profession that has a future, I think the attitudes will change. It shouldn't be an all-comers profession, because right now it looks like an all-comers. That's why we have some of these loopholes. Journalism, if we are licensing journalists, the burden you carry on your shoulder. You know that a lot of stake, there's so much at stake. If you give wrong information, you can actually be liable. You can actually serve jail terms. And then you know the downside and you know the upside of it. I think it will put a lot of check. Just this age of disinformation or information disorder that is making almost everybody, the quacks, students, everyone feels they can, report stories. But when people begin to pay for giving false information, I think it will checkmate journalism a little bit. And if we're licensed and we have insurance facilities, I think it will help a lot, because a lot of journalists, especially the freelancers who are not on salaries, that's where that problem comes from most times. They are not on salaries. They feel my life depends on this. I can't go back home empty. I've come out. I must make a story out of this. And this man that is involved. This big man has to pay for it, and the man didn't ask you to do the report.
Yes.
Those are some of, he didn't ask for the report, but you're trying to force out a report from him. You're trying to say he said this, and you know that whatever he says will make story. People want to read whatever he says. And then you also want him to pay you for forcing him to say something. That's where this brand envelope thing is coming out from. I think journalism should be licensed. Yeah, it should be licensed. And
is there not a downside to it? Some also opine that information is public resource and information shouldn't be encumbered with things like licensing. Others also take the view that licenses are subject to renewal and critical journalists may end up suffering getting their renewals done or their licenses issued because politicians, as crafty as they are, might end up smoke screening the licensing body into some sort of an arena for crashing dissent by ensuring that journalists that are seen not to be in their good books are frustrated from either getting their licenses issued or renewed. Is there not a downside?
Of course, it's going to be a challenge, but I think when we talk about licensing, is the media houses. I think they all have licenses.
Okay.
And some of them are actually suffering downturns with the fact that they probably are not reporting for the government in power. They are. Yeah. A lot of media houses are not flourishing. Most of the ones that are doing well, that are local media houses, they are the ones that are intended with government in power, government of the day. So they fund you by doing programs, doing live programs, pushing in a lot of money, and then the moment are no longer in the office. So I think when we talk about licensing journalism, it's not the kind of license that you need a lot to renew.
Okay.
You should be a member of an organization like the Nigerian Union of Journalists before that way, so that there's a little check. Let there be checks and balances. I think we allow too many quacks. You cannot have a student, a law student, go to the court to represent a client.
That's true.
But you find that in our own profession, even students, mass communication students, want to report stories and want to be paid. For me, if there's an event, people that are reporting that, let's know who and who is reporting. Let's have authentic sources, because when you know that for this event, these are the people reporting, so that even your viewers, your audience, the people who want to, the people you cover for will know the different media houses to check out their stories. They know the platforms to get the authentic stories. A situation where you're having an event, you were invited, you get to that event and there are 30 other journalists there. And most of them do not have identification card. Yeah. It should at least minimum of ID cards. Have an ID card, belong to an organization where you can be checked. So that when you do something wrong, there should be a penalty for, just going out there to say what you do not know. That's it. And there should also be compensation. Like I said, lawyers who represent their clients are given transport. Nobody calls it brown or white envelope. They see it as their right. So that's why I said, if you want publicity, pay for it. But if it's news, as a journalist, go for it without looking, for gratification. Don't look for gratification because it's news. Now, we are gradually burying what is real news, and we're now tilting to different sides, reporting by the side. The objectivity to me, I could be objective, but someone else speaks and say, this is very subjective. This is sentimental. Right. Yeah. So that's it. Gradually, journalism is what I want this person to say, that, people are picking sides in their story. You need to read from, if I want to hear, like in Nigeria, where, like I said, most papers report for different political parties.
Yes.
If I want the truth about this party, I have to go to the opponents to go and read. If I want, there are very few who are balanced.
That's right.
It's a sorry state for me. It's a sorry state where we have brought ourselves. We should try and be detached from all this. Let's for sure, if most and then politicians are owning media houses. That's even the worst of it.
I was coming to that, the political ownership of the media. Are we caught in trouble?
Yeah. Politicians are beginning to own media houses, so it's difficult. For instance, this is electionary period in Nigeria. Now, in my office, in the newsroom, we have different monitors. We like to monitor stations. Okay. And then we have we have a lot of people who contested for presidency, but we have three very strong contenders. Yes. The APC, the PDP, and the Labour Party. And now most of the channels are attached to the different parties. I'm telling you, so it's difficult. So if you're a neutral person, you want to get, when I work as an editor, I'm on the desk on my shift. There are particular stations I don't even want them to tune to. And then you put a particular, they're singing the praise of one man. I'll tell them, please, can you remove that? Put it on a neutral station. So that we don't, what you hear gets to you. Yeah. So the person sitting in the house, the possibility of listening and believing and everything, hook and sinker, is there. Yeah. So where politicians are owning media, I don't know. I wish there was a law that would bear politicians from owning media houses. Yeah, that's it. From owning media houses, so that this people can be objective a little bit. Because right now, media houses are on different, they are divided along party lines. So that's, for me, it's a huge challenge, especially in Nigeria. Because I remember that CNN reporter could look Trump in the face and ask him daring questions. Yes. Trump and CNN, yeah,
they fought several times, and Trump openly confronted them.
How many journalists can ask the incumbent or the incoming president of Nigeria question to his face? How many? When you already know the answer. Can you ask him how fair was the election that brought him into office? When you already know. Very few, because that's why I say I wish that politicians are not allowed to own media houses. If you want to own a media house, then you should leave politics. So that your news can be objective. That's what I think. Do you understand?
Now, yes. Now I'm curious. A lot of people of your stature with PhD would easily have abandoned journalism for academia. Why are you still here? And I mean,
I would like to double it. I would like to do both. Okay. Yeah, I would like to do both, and I hope to do both. I'm seeing, like I told you, for me, it's a passion, it's a platform. It's a passion, it's a platform. And I like to do both because I think I've garnered and gathered a lot, on the field that I can share with my students. So I would like to do both, not abandon what I'm doing at the time. I would like to do. Besides, I came from the classroom, remember?
Yes.
I told you I used to be a teacher in secondary school. I would like to be a lecturer for undergraduate, university, postgraduate students. I like to do both, not abandon journalism. No, not. That's why I'm here. I'm still here because I love what I'm doing and I would like to do more of it. And I could actually, blend it with lecturing, but not abandon journalism at all.
Let me pull the brakes here. This has been exciting. Riveting conversation. Dr. Hannah Aman has been my guest on PENSDOWN. Today we've talked her journalism journey. She speaks her mind. She's blunt and straightforward. She said it herself, but I have rather confirmed it through her pronouncement and her submissions. Doc, we are very grateful for your time, for joining us on PENSDOWN.
Thank you.
Right. This has been PENSDOWN. Here we talk journalism journeys. We call the show PENSDOWN because the pen is the tool of the journalist. On this program, the journalist is the newsmaker, not the reporter or presenter. So they drop their working tools, which is the pen. That is why we call it PENSDOWN. It's been an exciting edition with Dr. Hannah Aman, all the way from Port Harcourt, Rivers State, Nigeria. Once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right. We'll be back next time with another edition. We'll have another colleague join us to talk their journalism journey. Bye for now.